Burning is a process of a substance getting oxidized. It means it is an act of the substance reacting with oxygen. Suppose if a wood is burning, that means the molecules in the wood such as cellulose are reacting with oxygen. In general, we call it as burning, but scientifically it is called as combustion. The mandatory things required for combustion are sufficient temperature, oxygen and fuel. So let us discuss these one by one. The role of temperature. When a substance is burning, what actually happens is the molecules in the material vaporize due to absorption of heat, and those molecules in gaseous state then react with oxygen. Solid state molecules cannot react with oxygen directly, except some rare cases. The temperature required to vaporize a substance differs from material to material depending on nature of the substance. This is why different materials need different ignition temperature to start burning. If you do not supply sufficient heat, then the material will not vaporize and cannot be burned. Suppose if you try to set fire to a fresh or green wood, it becomes very difficult because the moisture in the wood absorbs the heat to evaporate, but the plant cell absorbs the heat a little amount only. After drying of wood, it starts to burn. We can observe this easily with a simple experiment. Take a piece of paper, hold it upwards and pour some water on it. Hold it carefully and put it above a candle flame with the water exactly beneath the flame. Even after 10 to 15 seconds, the paper does not burn. But if you check the water, you will find it hot. Once combustion is started, the heat released in it further heats up the fuel and results into more combustion, continuing the cycle further. In this way, temperature plays an important role in combustion. Petroleum products such as petrol, diesel vaporize even at room temperature, hence they start to burn very easily even with a small spark. Take a piece of paper and put it at 1 to 2 centimeters above the candle flame. The paper starts burning just after 3 to 4 seconds, even though it did not touch the flame. The reason behind it is the immediate heat of candle flame is sufficient to make the paper burn, as it needs a very less temperature to start burning. If you blow at a candle flame or a small sized flame, it extinguishes the burning because the faster air current decreases the temperature and insufficient temperature leads to stoppage of candle burning. Similarly, pouring of water also extinguishes the burning by decreasing temperature. But when the fire is large, blowing air increases the fire due to increase in supply of oxygen. In ancient days, the primitive men used to rub rocks with each other to increase temperature due to friction, and that lead to set fire. As we know, this is the greatest invention of primitive men which revolutionized the human evolution. This is the role of temperature in combustion. The role of fuel in combustion. As we have discussed earlier in combustion, the molecules of material vaporize and that molecules in the gaseous state then react with oxygen. But it doesn't mean that all molecules in the gaseous state react with oxygen. Suppose there is nitrogen in atmosphere in gaseous state but it won't react with oxygen. Chemically it is not possible. So what we have to remember is that the materials which are chemically reactable with oxygen, those only can be burned and we call it as combustible materials. In fire accidents, if water is thrown on fire, then the water gets vaporized. This vapor, instead of burning, blocks oxygen to reach the fire, which results to extinguish the fire because the water is non-combustible material. Note one thing here, at normal temperature, the nitrogen in atmosphere won't react with oxygen. When lightning occurs and atmospheric temperature rises to very high value, nitrogen reacts with oxygen to give nitrogen oxides. Fuels. Generally, we use hydrocarbon compounds as fuels, for example, petrol, diesel, etc. Hydrocarbons are complex structured compounds which contain hydrogen and carbon atoms along with other groups of molecules. Hydrogen atoms react with oxygen to give water vapor and carbon atoms react with oxygen to give carbon dioxide. The fuels which give more heat energy and less residual are preferred more and considered as good fuels. If you want to observe the release of water vapor in combustion, hold a cold spoon above the candle flame, then you will find water condensed on the spoon. The role of oxygen in combustion. Without oxygen, how can anything get oxidized? It's impossible. In our primary education, we are well acquainted with candle glass experiment which illustrates the role of oxygen in combustion. So, oxygen is very important for combustion. There are other two types of oxidizations also. They are rusting and cellular respiration. In rusting, iron reacts with oxygen in the presence of water. In cellular respiration, the carbohydrates extracted from food react with oxygen and releases energy. This cellular respiration takes place in each of our billions of cells to give us energy. But these are very slower processes when compared to combustion. In fire accident places, if any person surrounded by fire would lose consciousness even though he was not caught by fire, because the total oxygen would be consumed by combustion and leaves no sufficient oxygen for him.
This is just part 1 of 2. In the second part, we will go into bit deeper physics of fire and light. Once done, you can see the link to that video here and in the description below. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really does help us and motivate us to do more videos like these or even better. We would also like to thank every subscriber and viewer for 300 above subscriptions and above 75,000 views within a short span of time. Your view and subscription motivated us to do this and more.